Boys and girls, I've been on my travels again today for this morning's children's talk. This is the last of these little messages that I'll do from outside. And once again, I'm in a place, a local landmark that's quite well known and that has a big message to teach us. Now, I imagine just merely from the grey background that I have behind me that you might find it difficult to guess where this is. But this site will be very familiar to you if you live in or around Malyle or Donaghadee or travel the road between them. Moving out a little bit might give you a better idea of where I am. Boys and girls, if you know Ballyvester Beach, then you'll recognise the large stone that's standing behind me. It's officially called an obelisk, and as you drive the road between Malyle and Donaghadee, you can't miss it really, as it stands out right on the shore. Boys and girls, you might have driven past here and wondered why this standing stone is here. What does it represent? What significance does it have? This obelisk or standing stone is here in memory of a man called Major Richard Gustavus Hine. He was a very famous individual in his day. In 1914, he had enlisted during the First World War to be part of the Royal Flying Corps. He also at a time had 8 cars that raced in the Ards TT, but he was most well remembered for owning the Ulster Steamboat Company, whose vessels would have gone up and down this stretch of water and was very, very well known. Major Richard Gustavus Hine lived up on the hill behind me on the site that we now have as Croagh-Patrick Nursing Home. He's a very wealthy and very influential man, and those who wish to remember him put this stone in place, looking out over the waters in which his vessels had sailed in memory of him. What's ironic, boys and girls, is that though this stone stands here in his memory, very few people who see it know much about him or know that it's even here to honour him. On the side of it, there are some words that have faded away that recorded his name, but those now have been lost to posterity and lost to our memory. Great men and women today don't necessarily get obelisks or standing stones in their honour. Perhaps for them it's a large following on Facebook or on Twitter. Perhaps it's the ability to be recognised wherever they go and to have their photographs taken for all the major newspapers in the world. Perhaps it's to run a TikTok channel that many people watch and many people imitate. Boys and girls, Psalm 103 tells us that all of that glory and all of that fame and even all of that wealth doesn't last. We're like flowers of the field that fade away. And the very places where we were popular, where we were known, where we had renown, forget all about us. But there's a promise in Psalm 103, and that is if we put our faith in God, if we trust in Him for salvation, if we rest in Him for our significance as human beings, His faithfulness is forever and ever. His mercy is to every generation. And so in finding a Saviour, we find all the significance we need, and we know that we will have a permanent place in His home. So boys and girls, maybe as you're travelling this road in coming days, as you see this standing stone that's right behind me here, you would think about those verses from Psalm 103. That you'd remember that everyone's time on earth is brief. We're like flowers that spring up, that fade away, and are really remembered no more. And that you'd remind yourself that your God, the God in whom you've trusted for salvation, is from everlasting to everlasting, and He's faithful forever. Plant your feet on Him. Be concerned more about knowing His name and standing in His strength than in making a name for yourself, which will eventually one day will simply be forgotten.